Australia is a beautiful country and is also the world's smallest continent. On January 1st, 1901, Australia's 6 states became a nation, and today Australia is home to people from over 200 countries. In Australia, the most widely spoken language and national language is English. However, Australia has over 390 languages. Of these 390 languages, 214 are living and 176 are extinct. Some of the languages that originated in Australia are from such parts as Queensland, Northern Territory, South Wales, Western Australia, and Victoria. However, many of the languages in Australia have come from immigrants who have migrated into the country. Examples would be Hebrew, Arabic, Japanese, Polish, Turkish, and so on. In Australia, the literacy rate is 99%, which is excellent. The language taught in schools is English, but many schools offer other language programs as well. Australia's education system is more developed than most countries. Australian school system is very much like the United States. It is separated into 3 groups. Australia is set apart in education from other countries because of the Australian Qualifications Framework. The AQF was established in 1995, and it's a national policy that covers qualifications for higher education and vocational education and training. Australia does not label itself as having one particular religion. However, around 64% of Australia is predominantly Christian. The number of people reporting no religion in Australia has increased over the past 100 years, from 1 in 250 people to 1 in 5. Australia is a very tolerant and open country when it comes to religion and beliefs. Australians have some of the best values in the world. Their values include some of the highest ideals of human nature: respect for others, tolerance, equality, and equal opportunity for everyone, fair play, freedom, and respect for the environment. Australian people think of their country as a melting pot because everyone is a different ethnicity. Australia is a continent that is surrounded by water, and because of that, most Australians live close to the coastline. Many Australians love sports and love to surf. In fact, Australians come across as relaxed and easygoing people. Australians are very open to other lifestyles and are very tolerant of one another. Australia is a very peaceful, no worries kind of country. Australia's political system is very similar to the United States in how it governs its people. One of the oldest continuous democracies in the world, the Commonwealth of Australia was created in 1901 when the former British colonies, now the 6 states, agreed to federate. Australia, much like the U.S., has a written constitution, and citizens must be 18 years of age to vote. However, all citizens of the age of 18 must vote in the election of both federal and state governments, and failure to do so may result in a fine or prosecution. Australia is a strong country for innovation. There are many inventions that have come from Australia that you may not know about. Some include long-wearing contact lenses, anti-counterfeiting technology, surf life-saving reel, the bionic ear, ultrasound, nano machine, baby safe capsules, dual flush toilets, and many more.
Australia relies on a free market economy and boasts nearly $1 trillion of GDP. This ranks the country 18th in the world between Turkey and Iran. However, the per capita GDP of Australia is much higher than both of these countries, at 42,500 compared to 15 and 13,000 respectively. The economy relies heavily on the service industry, which makes up nearly 69% percent of the economy compared to 27% manufacturing and 4% agriculture. Australia has experienced more than 20 years of sustained economic growth, roughly 3.5% a year. The economy has been helped by the overall growth of the Asian regional economy, which means a huge demand for Australian resources. However, the high relative Australian dollar has hurt manufacturing. Recently, it was announced that manufacturing of automobiles in Australia would be ceased. This marks the first time in history that there will not be any cars made in Australia. The Australia plays an active role in the World Trade Organization, APEC, G20, and others. In addition, Australia is part of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement and is working to include other nations, including the U.S., in this agreement. Um, Many have compared this agreement to a larger version of NAFTA and would include most Pacific countries. The inclusion of this treaty would allow for the economy of Australia to see more sustained growth in the future.
Australia is very cautious when it comes to its economy and livelihood. The word risk has a very negative connotation to not only the Australian government, but to the Australian people. While they welcome a diverse array of investment, they do so with hesitation and careful consideration, especially foreign investment. If they do not feel secure in the investment or understand and believe its alleged purpose, they will not approve it. The Australian government knows that foreign investment has many benefits, such as economic growth, innovation, and new jobs. They value those benefits so much that they review each foreign investment proposal one by one to ensure it won't threaten their livelihood. The adjective skeptical fits Australia's feeling toward investment and releasing some control to foreign investors. That same feeling carries into how its businesses approach and assess risk. In most recent news, one of Australia's largest banks, NAB, chose to back away from digital currencies such as bitcoins and various other cryptocurrencies, which are not backed by a government or central bank. As expected, a risk profile was created, and it was determined that ties with virtual currency providers posed an unacceptable level of risk to the bank's businesses and reputation. Just recently, Australia has continued its path of ultimate self-protection by paying more attention to food regulation since their food safety practices are undergoing major changes. According to Australia's Department of Agriculture, 10% of the food its people eat come from overseas. Consequently, the Australian government has made it a priority to be certain that imported food is safe. In line with their vigilance, the Australian government also monitors all other imports very closely. Like most countries, they charge a duty on products shipped into their country. However, in the energy industry, Australian people feel the tariffs have gone too far. Australia deals with extreme heat waves. A large and expensive network of equipment is necessary to guarantee uninterrupted power during those extreme heat waves. The demand for air conditioning is sudden and drastic. The demand for such readiness increases the tariffs on the power industry, and consumers pay the price. The anger Australians feel about this issue stems from the fact that not just the people who choose to turn on their air conditioner and cooling devices during heat waves have to pay more, everyone does. The cost is spread evenly, and everyone's energy bills have skyrocketed. Although energy bills have risen, it's safe to assume that the government would rather at least provide the ability to manage energy demands during the heat waves and charge consumers more than for the networks to fail during spikes of usage. To say that Australia is concerned with preserving the livelihood of its people would be an understatement. The government's actions always have the country's best interest in mind. Although its methods sometimes seem extreme and avoiding risk means losing out on the opportunity of great return, the government and the people feel both comfort in the security of riskless behavior and security in knowing their actions are thoroughly reviewed.
Australia's economy is stronger than ever due to an energy and mineral resource boom. Trade with China and Asia is at a 140-year high, and the Australian dollar is also at a record level high. Many in Australia do worry about what will happen when the music eventually stops. When it comes to oil and gas, Australia is set to become the world's largest liquefied natural gas exporter within the next 4 years. Even though this surge in the economy is greatly welcomed, it has also resulted in a huge adjustment process. Problems with poor rail systems, crowded roads, inadequate public transportation, water shortages, strained electricity, and lack of a national infrastructure need to be resolved in order to fund projects that will have the long-term economic benefits. In order to maximize benefits from the economic boom, they need to make sure they manage their infrastructure properly. Australia's labor productivity is not only growing. In 2013, it outperformed the 7 world's wealthiest nations. Labor productivity has grown an average of more than 1% from 2002 to 2011, which is greater than many developed countries. Huge growth over the last 10 years has come from the energy and mineral boom. With the economy doing well with sustained growth and Australia's strong financial, regulatory, and supervisory system, they were able to make it through the financial crisis in stable condition. Australia also has the potential for a huge growth in manufacturing, retailing, and tourism. Maintaining an effective supply chain is key in keeping Australia competitive in the global market, which could prove trying for an island nation that is nearly 3 million square miles. Some projects that will improve supply chain efficiency include reduction of red tape, improved project identification, getting more freight onto rail, improved freight planning, just to name a few.
Marketing issues. Marketing budgets are expected to grow 3.4% in 2014. Types of marketing the budgets are used for include content marketing, social networking, online advertising, public relations, and mobile advertising. Social networking is causing higher internet usage, which makes it easier to reach target markets. Australia compares favorably against other countries according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The average income level for a household is $29,000 in American dollars. There is a large difference between the top and bottom 20% though. The top 20% earns 6 times the bottom does. This would be a good area for a marketer to focus to create higher revenues. Next, the population of Australia is about 22 million people. It has a very low infant mortality rate and the average life expectancy is 82 years old. These are a few indicators of a very strong country. There are a few main races, although the main race includes over 90% of the population, which is Caucasian. Other races include Asian and Aboriginal. This is a good focus for marketers because there are only a few demographics, which allows marketers to focus on fewer target segments. All in all, Australia is a good market with a stable economy with easy markets to reach. It will be a good place for business from a marketing standpoint.
Our presentation concludes with Australia's national anthem.